The text message that would change everything. Emma froze, watching her date's face transform from charming smile to ashen horror in seconds. His fingers trembled as he stared at his phone, then back at her, his mouth opening and closing like he couldn't find words. "I have to go," he finally whispered, throwing cash on the table. "Right now." As he rushed out of the restaurant, leaving her alone with cooling plates of Christmas dinner, Emma had no idea that this disaster of a blind date would lead her to discover a 30-year-old family secret, and the love she never knew she was looking for. If you've ever felt alone during the holidays or believe that fate works in mysterious ways, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories that prove sometimes life's biggest disappointments lead to our greatest blessings. Emma Sullivan pressed her forehead against the frost-edged window of her apartment, watching snowflakes dance in the glow of street lamps. Christmas Eve, and the city looked like a scene from a holiday card, perfect for everyone but her. Her breath fogged the glass as she sighed, creating a temporary canvas where she absently traced a small heart with her fingertip. At 32, this wasn't how she'd imagined her life would be. Her career as a pediatric physical therapist was fulfilling, but tonight, the walls of her tastefully decorated apartment seemed to close in around her. The small artificial tree in the corner, adorned with ornaments collected over years of solo living, only emphasized what was missing. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. Probably her mother calling from Arizona, where she and Emma's stepfather had retired 3 years ago. Emma loved them dearly, but couldn't bear another conversation filled with thinly veiled concern about her perpetual singleness. Instead, it was her best friend Layla. "Please tell me you've reconsidered," Layla said without preamble when Emma answered. "Hello to you too," Emma replied, moving to curl up on her sofa. "And no, I haven't. I'm fine spending Christmas alone." "Really? You're not fine, and we both know it. Look, I wouldn't push this if I didn't think Michael was actually perfect for you." Emma rolled her eyes. "You've said that about the last 3 guys you've tried to set me up with." "This is different," Layla insisted. "He's smart, kind, works with underprivileged kids." "Then why is he alone on Christmas?" There was a pause. "His plans fell through last minute. Family emergency with his sister. He was supposed to fly to Chicago but now he's stuck here." Emma glanced at the half-empty wine glass on her coffee table. The thought of another Christmas night alone suddenly seemed unbearable. The memory of last year, falling asleep on the couch watching It's a Wonderful Life, with only her cat Fitzgerald for company, flashed through her mind. "Fine," she said suddenly. "But if he has a weird laugh or talks about his ex the whole time, I'm texting you an SOS and you're calling with an emergency." Layla's squeal of delight made Emma hold the phone away from her ear. "You won't regret this. Reservation at Rosetta's at 7 tomorrow. Wear that green dress that makes your eyes pop." After hanging up, Emma stared at her reflection in the darkened window. What was she doing? Blind dates were awkward enough without the added pressure of Christmas. But something had to change. 5 years since David had walked out, claiming he needed space, only to get engaged to his coworker 3 months later. 5 years of first dates that went nowhere, of building walls so high she wasn't sure anyone could climb them anymore. Maybe this Michael person would be different. Or maybe it would be another disaster to add to her collection of dating horror stories. Either way, it beat another night alone with her thoughts. Christmas Day arrived with a fresh blanket of snow and a text from Layla, "He's excited to meet you. Dark hair, blue eyes, will be wearing a gray coat. Good luck. Red heart." Emma spent the afternoon alternating between regret and determination. By 6, she was wrapped in her emerald dress, applying a final touch of lipstick with slightly trembling hands. Fitzgerald watched from the bathroom counter, his orange tail swishing judgmentally. "Don't look at me like that," she told the cat. "Not all of us are content with a life of solitude and tuna." The restaurant was a 15-minute walk from her apartment. The cold air bit at her cheeks as she navigated the snowy sidewalks, her heeled boots leaving delicate impressions in the fresh powder. Rosetta's glowed warmly ahead, its windows steamed from the heat inside, Christmas lights twinkling along the awning. Emma paused outside, gathering her courage. Through the glass, she could see couples and families sharing holiday meals, laughter and conversation flowing as freely as the wine. For a moment, she considered turning back. Then she spotted him, seated alone at a corner table, dark hair slightly tousled, checking his watch. He looked up as she entered, and their eyes met across the room. Something fluttered in her chest, nervousness, perhaps, or something more primitive. He stood as she approached, revealing himself to be taller than she'd expected, with shoulders that filled out his navy sweater impressively. "Emma?" he asked, his voice deep and warm. She nodded, extending her hand. "And you must be Michael." His smile reached his eyes, blue, just as Layla had said, but with flecks of gray that reminded Emma of the ocean during a storm. His handshake was firm but gentle. "It's nice to meet you," he said, helping her with her coat before they both sat down. "I have to admit, I was surprised when Layla said you'd agreed to this. A blind date on Christmas isn't exactly conventional." Emma smiled, relaxing slightly. "Neither of us seems to be doing conventional Christmas this year." "True enough." He picked up the wine list. "Red or white?" "Red, please." "Something bold." He nodded approvingly. "A woman who knows her wine preferences. I like that." The waiter appeared, and Michael ordered a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon with the confidence of someone who knew what he was doing but without the pretentiousness that often accompanied it. "So," Emma said once they were alone again, "Layla tells me you work with kids?" His face lit up. "I run an after-school program for at-risk youth. Teaching them coding, robotics, skills that can open doors." "That's amazing," Emma said, genuinely impressed. "I'm a pediatric physical therapist. I work with children recovering from injuries or living with disabilities." "Sounds like we both ended up exactly where we're supposed to be," Michael said, his eyes crinkling at the corners when he smiled. "What made you choose that field?" The wine arrived, and as they sipped and talked, Emma felt the tension in her shoulders begin to dissolve. Michael was easy to talk to, attentive, asking thoughtful questions, sharing stories of his own that made her laugh. By the time their entrees arrived, roast duck for her, prime rib for him, Emma was actually enjoying herself. "So no family Christmas for you this year?" she asked, cutting into her duck. A shadow crossed his face. "My parents passed away when I was in college. Car accident. It's just my sister and me now, and she's in Chicago with her husband's family. I was supposed to join them, but..." He trailed off. "I'm so sorry," Emma said softly. "About your parents?" He nodded, accepting her sympathy with a small smile. "It's been 10 years. You learn to live with it. What about you? Why aren't you with family today?" Emma twirled her wine glass by the stem. "My mom and stepdad moved to Arizona. It was too expensive to fly out this year with the holiday rates. My dad..." She hesitated. "He's not really in the picture." Michael seemed about to ask more when his phone buzzed in his pocket. "Sorry," he said, pulling it out to glance at the screen. "I should check this. My sister was having some issues earlier." Emma nodded, taking another bite of her duck. She watched as Michael read the message, expecting him to quickly put the phone away. Instead, all color drained from his face. "Michael?" she asked, alarmed by his sudden transformation. "Is everything okay?" His eyes, wide with shock, lifted to meet hers. His mouth opened, but no words came out. He looked back at his phone, then at her again, as if seeing her for the first time. "I have to go," he finally said, his voice barely audible. "What? Why? What happened?" Emma felt a surge of panic. Is your sister okay? Michael was already standing, fumbling in his wallet. He threw several bills on the table, far more than needed to cover their meal. I'm sorry, he said, his voice shaking. I can't explain right now. I have to go. Right now. Before Emma could process what was happening, he was striding toward the exit, leaving her alone at the table with 2 half-eaten meals and a bottle of wine. The restaurant suddenly felt too warm, too crowded. Conversations and laughter continued around her, oblivious to her humiliation. Emma sat frozen, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Had she said something wrong? Was this some elaborate scheme to get out of a date he wasn't enjoying? The waiter approached cautiously. Is everything all right, miss? Will your companion be returning? Emma forced herself to breathe. No, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. He won't be coming back. Could I get the check, please? It's been taken care of, the waiter said, gesturing to the cash Michael had left. Would you like me to box up the food? Emma nodded, not trusting herself to speak further. As the waiter walked away, she pulled out her phone to text Layla. Date disaster. He just ran out in the middle of dinner. No explanation. Coming home now. Layla's response was immediate. What? Are you serious? That doesn't sound like Michael at all. Emma didn't bother responding. She collected the boxed leftovers, wrapped herself in her coat, and stepped out into the cold night, tears threatening to spill over. The snow was falling harder now, the flakes catching in her hair and eyelashes. She was halfway home when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something made her answer. Emma? It was Michael's voice, breathless and urgent. I need to talk to you. It's important. You had your chance to talk at dinner, she said coldly, continuing to walk. Before you ran out on me. I know, and I'm sorry. But you don't understand. You're right, I don't. Goodbye, Michael. Wait. His voice cracked with desperation. It's about your father. Emma stopped dead in her tracks, snow swirling around her. What did you say? Your father. William Sullivan. I think he might be my father too. The world seemed to tilt beneath Emma's feet. That's impossible, she whispered. The text I got, it was from my sister. She sent me an old family photo she found while going through our mom's things. There was a man in it with her, from before she met the man who raised us. On the back it said, Sarah and Will, Christmas 1993. Your last name is Sullivan. You said your father wasn't in the picture. It can't be a coincidence. Emma's mind raced. Her father had left when she was 5, disappearing from her life with barely an explanation. Her mother had rarely spoken of him, and Emma had stopped asking years ago. Where are you? She asked, her voice hollow. Outside your building. Layla gave me your address. I know that's presumptuous, but... Stay there, Emma said, ending the call. She walked the remaining blocks in a daze, snow crunching beneath her boots, her breath forming clouds in the frigid air. As her building came into view, she saw him, pacing nervously on the sidewalk, his gray coat dusted with snow. He looked up as she approached, his face a mirror of her own confusion and disbelief. Show me the photo, she said without preamble. Michael pulled out his phone with trembling hands, opening the image his sister had sent. Emma took the phone, her heart pounding in her chest. The photo showed a young woman with Michael's blue eyes, smiling beside a man Emma recognized instantly, though she hadn't seen him in nearly 3 decades. The same man whose features she saw in her own reflection, the strong jaw, the slight cleft in the chin, the way one eyebrow arched higher than the other. That's him, she whispered, her voice catching. That's my father. Michael ran a hand through his snow-damp hair. Jesus Christ, he muttered. Layla set us up on a date. We almost, he couldn't finish the sentence. Despite everything, a bubble of hysterical laughter rose in Emma's throat. "Merry Christmas to us," she said, the absurdity of the situation hitting her all at once. "I finally meet a decent guy, and he turns out to be my half-brother." Michael's laugh was equally strained. "Can we go inside and talk? It's freezing out here, and I think we have a lot to figure out." Emma hesitated only briefly before nodding. "I have leftover duck and half a bottle of wine. Seems like appropriate provisions for discovering long-lost siblings on Christmas." In Emma's apartment, they sat at opposite ends of her sofa, the takeout containers between them untouched. Fitzgerald had immediately taken to Michael, curling up beside him as if they were old friends. "So," Emma said, refilling their wine glasses, "when did your mother meet the man who raised you?" 1994, Michael replied. "I was born in 92, my sister in 93. Mom never talked about our biological father. Just said he wasn't ready for a family. Rick, our dad, adopted us when he married Mom. He's the only father we ever knew." Emma nodded slowly. "My parents divorced when I was 5. 1996, he just left. Moved across the country. Sent birthday cards for a few years, then nothing." She took a long sip of wine. "I always wondered if he had another family somewhere." "Looks like he had two," Michael said quietly. They sat in silence for a moment, processing the revelation that had turned their worlds upside down. "Do you think he knew?" Emma finally asked. "About you and your sister?" Michael shrugged. "I have no idea. Mom never said anything. She passed away still wearing Rick's ring, even though he'd been gone 3 years by then." "I'm sorry," Emma said, realizing how much loss Michael had endured. "About both your parents." He gave her a sad smile. "Thanks. What about your mom? Do you think she knew about us?" Emma considered this. "I don't know. She never said anything, but there were times when she seemed so angry about him, beyond just the divorce. Maybe she found out. Should we try to find him?" Michael asked. "William Sullivan can't be that uncommon a name, but with both our birth certificates and some basic information." Emma felt a knot form in her stomach. "I'm not sure I want to," she admitted. "He walked out on both of us, or all 4 of us, I guess. What would be the point now?" Michael nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Closure, maybe. Answers. But I get it if you're not ready." "Are you?" "Ready, I mean." He considered this. "I don't know. I've gone my whole life thinking Rick was my dad. Finding out about William is a lot. But finding out about you." His expression softened. "That part doesn't feel bad." Emma felt a smile tug at her lips. "No, it doesn't. Though it does make for the worst blind date story ever." Michael laughed, the tension breaking slightly. "Layla is going to die when she finds out." "Oh God, Layla." Emma groaned, reaching for her phone. "I should probably tell her you're not a total jerk who abandoned me at dinner for no reason." As she typed out a message explaining the bizarre situation, Michael stood and walked to her Christmas tree, examining the ornaments. "This one's nice," he said, pointing to a small silver star. "My mom gave me that when I moved into my first apartment," Emma said, setting down her phone. "Said everyone needs at least one special ornament to start their collection." Michael smiled. "Our mom, Sarah, she had this tradition of giving us each a new ornament every year. Something that represented something important that happened." He pulled out his wallet and carefully extracted a small, folded photo. "This was her last Christmas." He handed Emma the photo. It showed Michael, his sister, and their parents around a Christmas tree, all wearing matching sweaters and laughing. "You look happy," Emma said softly, returning the photo. "We were." Michael tucked the photo away. What about you? Any Christmas traditions? Emma shrugged. Not really. After Mom remarried and I went to college, holidays got